No, not really.
Anything interesting going on this week in sports or across the country? Not that I can think of. sort of a dead week.
For Sunday,
Kind of a valley.
Have you been to the Mommy Antique Mall?
I have.
Okay. For Sunday, I think I was doing a column on like I went to the Mommy Antique Mall with like $50. Like, here's the crazy local sports treasures I found.
Oh, that is a good story. Oh, that was an exciting UT women's game.
Yeah, that was
way to start the reign. You know, it looked so terrible, and then they came back and had a big win. That was fun.
Yeah, I made the second half. Wrote a column off it.
I saw you got some inside information, some firsthand reporting on some of the halftime activities.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You told me. I went to the City League Hall of Fame dinner to honor our former boss, Frank Corso. He got in as a distinguished citizen.
Oh, wow.
So I had to miss the first half. So as I'm walking into Savage Arena at halftime, I'm coming. Phil is going. He tells me about the incident at halftime. Well, you're the one who saw it. Tell me what happens.
They featured some Frisbee dogs, rescue dogs, and as a border collie owner myself, I wanted to see it, so I stuck around, and they let the second dog out. He ran after the Frisbee. He caught it at the foul line, dropped it, and said, "Now I have to drop something else." I was surprised nobody cleaned it up right away, but the cleanup crew did come. And all a success for Coach Bogus.
Absolutely.
Did I say her name right?
I think it's Bodges.
Is it Bodges?
Bodges.
She's new.
Yeah,
I'm new. We're both
new to it. But she's a live wire of positive energy, and God, her teams play fast. I mean, Trisha Culps was awesome in her own way, but just stylistically, I think I wrote that it was kind of like going from a minivan to a Mustang. Just, I mean, both are perfectly good cars that get you where you need to go. Maybe Trisha's car gets you even farther, but it's just different and a little faster.
That's a good line from David Briggs. You can expect that from him, our sports columnist here at the Toledo Blade, and the expert who sits alongside me on this show, The Heart of the Rivalry, where we dissect and discuss all things college football through the prism of our four great rivalry teams, Ohio State, Michigan, BG, and UT. We are recording early this week. It's November 6th. Tuesday, November 5th was kind of a big day in this country for a lot of people across all the fine land. Many of them cast their votes and their eyes to an orange presence with its fierce talons. You know, in past incarnations, you would say maybe flawed in its policy and practice, but the popularity could not be denied for an imminent return. David, despite the naysayers, and lauded by the hyperlit kaleidoscope of television. Of course, I am talking about the return of Bowling Green State University Falcons football to Tuesday night Maction.
Absolutely.
Mac, baby, Mac. Mac, baby, Mac.
Maction. Scott Loeffler taking the Falcons to the moon. He offered his victory speech after the big victory.
No concession.
No concession. Central Michigan had to offer the concession speech, but big Loeffler afterward called it an unbelievable win because he just kind of has I guess like the other person you're talking about kind of speaks in hyperbole sometimes, and everything is just kind of unbelievable adversity or unbelievable win or unbelievable loss, but. Credit to them. It was not unbelievable, but it was a very good win that told us a little bit about BG that maybe we were looking for this season. Usually when they've had big wins in the past, the next week they kind of go from the peak to the valley. This was they had the huge win against Toledo, brings them to 3-1 in the MAC, driver's seat. And in the past, maybe they lay an egg at Central Michigan, driving rain, nobody in the stands, horrible atmosphere. And
mutter.
They bring their own energy.
They did.
Yeah, their mutter was a mutter. His mutter was a mutter.
They were mutters. How about our Ohio State Buckeyes?
Yeah, I had the privilege to be there. Always enjoy the trip to Happy Valley, especially with the foliage.
The erector set
early
emerging.
November. Yeah. First of all, it was the second straight year I was on the field afterward as those little bottles of whiskey the students sneak into the game. The fireballs were raining down on the field. James Franklin gets $8.5 million a year, so he can deal with it. But it is the frustration there with James Franklin is pretty incredible. 3-18 against top 10 teams, and it's just, I mean, students are throwing stuff on the field. They're yelling at him as he comes off the field. And a bad look by James Franklin, he confronted one of the students right at the tunnel and just kind of challenged them to just stupid. Just
What's
put your head
name?
down.
Yeah,
put your head down. Take your medicine. Go in.
Yeah,
but then when he goes in, like Penn State, like we said, the erector side, it's kind of a weird setup when you're going down through they're going to their locker room. They're walking just right through the middle of all the fans through the concourse, and the fans are chanting like "Fire Franklin!" And he's just it's just such a somber scene as it is after all these big games for Penn State. So. On the flip side, doesn't seem so bad for Ryan Day anymore, right? They answered all the criticisms. We said they're not tough enough. They can't win the big one. Defense folds late. Well, they answered at least for one day, they answered all of that. The huge goal line stand, the running out the clock behind an embattled, reconfigured offensive line. Yeah, from the one. The quarterback sneak gets them 4 yards, and then they're just plowing. Penn State knows what's coming, and they still it just kind of felt like sticking their collective cleat in the ground and saying, enough is enough. Like, we're going to show the team that we can be. And I guess I was probably more impressed the way they won than if they had won by, say, they don't have some of those mistakes and they win by 17. That's a good sign for Ohio State, but maybe this showed us something different. When they're I hate their cliche, but like when their back was against the wall. Yeah. I mean, they did kind of show they were made of the right stuff.
Does Michigan take anything from at least what felt like a hard-fought battle against Oregon? I know they put up a late score, so they end up winning by 21, but felt closer than 38-17.
Yeah, I was not able to watch it, able to follow it. I don't know.
Did you avoid it?
I did not avoid it. I was writing in the press box, following along, but they did give them credit for showing a little fight there. I mean, it looked like it was going to be get the doors blown off in the first half in your own stadium, but it's just kind of the wheels continue to fall off for Michigan, and just another kind of cold slap of reality. And look at this week. 14-point underdogs at Indiana. First time Michigan has been an underdog to Indiana since 1968, and 14 points. That is crazy. But I wouldn't be surprised if Indiana covers. I mean, Michigan just very not dynamic this year.
What is Indiana's coach's name? Signetti?
Kurt Signetti.
Signetti, coach of the year?
I think so. I mean, you're looking at probably Dan Lanning at Oregon, Kurt Signetti, but I mean, Indiana. I mean, it's pretty
from nowhere.
The funny thing is, somebody the other day said, "It's not fair." He was able to take all the guys from James Madison to load. It's like, that's the concern. Yeah. You're taking it from all these guys from a group of 5 team. It's so not fair for the poor little Big Ten that all these guys from James Madison University are coming in to steal the show. But yeah, Indiana is interesting. I mean, they have not played a single team that even has a vote in the AP poll. No ranked team, but not even a team on the periphery. So they haven't played anybody. But you don't just kick everyone's ass every single week and not be legit. I mean, we see just the highs and lows of college football each week.
It's played by college kids.
Yeah. I mean, these kids have things going on in their lives, and every game is kind of a reaction to the last. You're up, you're down. They have just, the last 3 games, including Michigan State and Nebraska, they've won by a combined 100 points. They have covered 8 straight weeks. I mean, they're 14-point favorites over Michigan, but if I were going to bet on it, I'm not. I would probably bet on Indiana.
Signetti's got that Terminator mindset. I know. Man. He just does he blink?
No,
does not appear to blink. You have to give Toledo credit for always playing the full 60 minutes. They go to Ypsilanti to play Eastern and win. Would you call that's sort of the Saquon Barkley reverse hurdle win? It's sort of a butt first win.
Yeah.
They give up a Hail Mary, but stop the 2-point conversion. You got to give the defense credit. They stopped it, but it looked like the guy had it in his hands. What did you think of that game?
That was absolutely bonkers. Following along there too. I mean, that Hail Mary, that 40-yard Hail Mary at the end of the game.
Can
It's
it be
kind
a-
of
wait.
it's kind of a fluke.
Can it
but-
be a Hail Mary if it's 40 yards and in? Isn't that just a touchdown pass?
Yeah, no, I would say it's still a Hail Mary
Because you
Doesn't
throw
mean
it up,
you're-
you throw it up to the crowd.
You're still
Okay.
the one issue. Most of those are flukes, and you play 100 more times, probably they convert it 90, or Toledo gets to stop 98 times. The one issue I did have, and I think a lot of people watching would have, is Toledo only rushed 2, just the ultimate prevent
Thank you.
defense. Like,
Yeah.
if you rush 4, he probably doesn't even have the opportunity to get a 40-yard touchdown or
Yeah.
a 40-yard pass off, let alone have the chance to complete it. So I don't know what the advantage of is having just all these extra guys versus why not just get the quarterback to the ground and then, hey, guess what? There's no chance of getting the ball up. So that would be my one criticism there. A lucky play, not a lucky play, good play by Eastern Michigan, but kind of fluky. But so good. All in all, good win for Toledo.
A Hail Mary produces conflict in the chaos of the scrum. So you say, okay, we're going to drop 9. That's going to make sure that we're going to overwhelm their receivers. But the Eastern receiver, he just went up and caught it
Right.
and came down.
There were
He
four-
was
there were a million guys- yeah.
unfettered,
Right.
as they say.
Well, there are a ton of Toledo guys right around him.
Watching
so it's like,
him, yeah.
Is that 4th guy right around him more beneficial than putting him up at the line of scrimmage and rushing the quarterback?
It's a defense by osmosis.
Right, for sure.
Concentration. All right, when we come back with our halftime segment, we're going to look at a new poll, a nationwide poll.
Quinnipiac?
Stay tuned, Americans. We're going to let you know.
Playoff rankings.
Welcome to the political bulwark room of the Toledo Blade. I'm your host on Bulwark, Chris Matthews. Briggs, what's at the heart of the Middle East conflict? Wrong! God, you just had to say something so I could interrupt you with my impression.
Well, yeah.
Do you remember Dana Carvey playing Chris Matthews on Hardball? That was so funny.
Yeah. Who was, and Alec Baldwin was playing Brett Bear and just interrupting Kamala every 2 seconds the other day. But yeah.
That's good.
That's
good.
All right.
All right. Okay.
God bless.
So
Go Bucks.
Go Bucks. Welcome back to the
Go
heart of the rivalry. The Buckeyes have come in at number 2 in your newly released 12-team playoff poll. Dave, that seems appropriate. Any thoughts?
Yeah. You know what really grinds my gears, Phil? Everything about this stupid playoff. No. I just wanted to come in blazing with a hot take like everyone else. You know what? I don't have
I'm scorched.
I don't have...
My
you know
wig
what?
is blown back.
You know what? I do not have a hot take on these stupid playoff rankings, which are just a made-for-TV dog and pony show, and it's just like, what are we doing? I understand.
When you go to the dog and pony show, are you a horse guy, dog guy? Or are you there from both?
I'm a dog guy.
Dog
but I
guy.
like the
Yeah,
pony.
dog guy.
I like
Yeah,
the
I
ponies.
like the ponies too. Okay.
The thing I don't get the most is just how upset people get about these rankings. Like, why is Indiana not higher than 8th? And yeah, they probably should be higher than 8th and undefeated. But it's like,
The season hasn't ended.
right,
They know that,
all
right?
this will be settled. If
Yeah,
Indiana
yeah.
looks really good at Ohio State, guess what? They'll be completely fine. They'll be in the playoff. Would you put another team in there in the title mix?
Bowling Green.
Well, obviously.
I mean, obviously. No,
the funny thing
what
is,
I'm
like,
interested in is a 3-loss Alabama team. I would like to see Alabama lose to LSU by 1, and then just have that committee have so much work to do.
Yeah, 3 losses will knock them out this year.
We're back live.
I was going to give some political views, but I'll save it for when the camera's off the air.
What really grinds my
You know what really grinds my gears, Phil?
I like this being the bulwark session room, the BS room.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's scout ahead. We've got a full slate of games. OSU is hosting Purdue. Michigan is at IU. BG hosts Directional Michigan Western on another Tuesday night, and UT hosts Directional Michigan Central. Anything outstanding from any of these games, Dave?
I'm interested to see BG play host Western.
I'm always interested to see BG play.
Absolutely. You going to the game?
I'm not.
Okay. Bringing in undefeated Western Michigan team, at least in the MAC. Hopefully a good crowd at the Doit for MACtion. If BG wins that, it's kind of not clear sailing, but it's should be in pretty good position for that home finale against Miami. but BG is sitting pretty. The other game I'm kind of interested in is just that, like we were talking about, Michigan at Indiana.
Yeah.
Can Indiana cover that 14-point spread? I mean, that's kind of fascinating. I mean, I guess the game is interesting in itself because if Indiana wins, it kind of
My Connect says yes.
The wheels keep falling off for Michigan, and you're wondering, are they going to make a bowl game? Or are they going to make that last stand against Ohio State? If Michigan loses this weekend, they fall to 5-5. Then they have a game against Northwestern at home. You would think they would win that, but maybe if they're coming off a second straight loss, they kind of mail it in and Northwestern gets the upset. And the only game I think they will bring a really inspired effort is that final game in Columbus. That's the game. That's the game that can kind of save its season, and maybe they can keep it close. I mean, I don't know. It's hard. It's so hard to imagine that game being close, just the way this season has gone so far. But I mean, to have lived through the 90s, anything is possible.
Some teams are game when you play the rivalry. You're game for your competition. Some teams are gamey. Purdue has one win. How does Ryan Day focus the team?
Ryan Day did say Purdue is a much better team than their 1-7 record indicates. So
is he required by law to say that?
You would, for Buckeyes' sake, you would hope they are locked in. It's a big noon kickoff, so that's the game of the week.
Wow.
Yeah, no, should be exciting.
All right, if you're a Buckeye fan, who's dangerous on Purdue?
I don't think there should be anybody dangerous for Ohio State on Purdue.
Sounds good to me.
There used to be, when they would have those games in the Tressel era, and they lost a couple at Purdue. There are always those game wreckers, especially on the defensive line for Purdue. Ryan Kerrigan, a couple other guys. They were tough. They had guys.
What about the 2002 game, the 10-6 game, the fourth down?
Yeah, holy Buckeye, still probably the greatest Ohio State play I've ever seen. But,
really?
I mean, what tops that in terms of just everything riding on the ball? The ball's in the air and the entire season is on the line.
Forever.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was incredible for such a staid conservative team. Ohio State on 4th and 1. Krenzel throws it up to Jenkins, and the rest is history. Truly.
Way to put it on the line, Dave.
And then a few years ago. Purdue smoked Ohio State with Rondale Moore. I know you don't want to remember that one, but yeah, Purdue has always
I've Boilermakered that out of my memory.
Purdue has always been the biggest thorn in Ohio State's side among the crap teams in the Big Ten, or among the mediocre teams in the Big Ten.
I wasn't aware that was a listed division.
But I mean, yeah, no. So, but this is not a crap team capable of making any noise. Famous last words.
It's a crap team.
It's a real crap team. It's a real crap team. They've earned their crap bona fides this season.
He's Dave Briggs. I'm Phil Kaplan. This has been another nation gaze holding episode of the Heart of the Rivalry. We will see you next week. Dun, dun, dun. I like that we're never going to get actually into politics, but we're just skimming along the edges.
That was a good intro. I love that.
Thanks, dog. Yeah, thank you.
Did you write that out?
Yeah, I did.
And then remembered it?
I did.
Nice. That was good.
I did.